when he's pontificating and walking,
Right.
I will carry his plates for Thanksgiving. He can eat
Stop
it.
and take a bite.
Yeah, he can eat it on the go.
But he puts his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
You can take one hand out.
Yeah.
He has a little bit of a North Dakota slant there with the hands in the pocket.
Rajo, tell us
Okay,
war
good.
stories.
Well, one day, I'll tell you one. They got our whole platoon together. There were 60 of us in 3 parkas, and you couldn't tell anybody apart because they were all gloves and hats and things, and you were blowing smoke out of your mouth because I was smoking, and it was so frosty that you couldn't see a thing. It was just a cloud
Of smoke.
of smoke.
From people smoking.
Yeah, on the ice cap. And it was, so the captain, who was a West Point graduate, and he was in nuclear physics or something.
Dang.
And he came out and he said 60 minutes is, no, not
60
60
men?
minutes. You are there is coming to the ice cap to televise us.
Wait, what?
Is that a channel or something?
You Are There was
News program?
a program with Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite came to see you
Yes.
smoking in Greenland.
and this was 1959.
07. This was pre-vacial.
Yeah, pre-vacial. It was, what would that be, AV? No,
PV.
BV.
Pre-vacial era.
Yeah, it was the pre-vacial era.
BB before Vacial.
Or Carol or anybody else.
Carol had also not been born yet.
BC before Carol.
Anyway, so he said, here's the plan. The Queen is coming to be the Dane, because Greenland's owned by the Danes. She is coming to be on the telecast, and they're filming our city under the ice
With the Queen of Denmark?
with the Queen of Denmark.
What?
And he said, here's the plan. He said, I'm locking all you ice worms in your tent
Why?
because you don't want you to see a female human being. You are not allowed to come out on this day that she is coming.
So you didn't get to see the
No,
Queen?
she's filming.
No, you're good, Nana, you're good.
So he said, I've set up a security system where if you come out, try to come out of your tent, he said, I'm arresting you and you'll have to stay on the ice cap. So, so we said, okay, well, there's nothing else to say. It's dismissed. Okay, so we go and do our 12 hours of work every day in the light. It was total light. And after I'd get out of my 8 sleeping bags that were on my cot, and I'd go down and there was this guy that was a cook. He was a big, fat dude with no teeth. And after I'd watched the same movie, Sun Came Running, for the 43rd time. It was with Shirley MacLaine, and it was a classic. But we'd sit and watch that every night, and they didn't have beer. There was no drinking on the ice cap. So the day the Queen came, Walter Cronkite came the day before with his crew. They flew in, and they did some shots of the tunneling that we did with Peter, or they called them Peter plows, that came from Sweden.
Peter Pan came from Sweden?
Yes, Peter plows, and they blew the snow up, the ice cap snow up, and then they did pictures of us. We were up there with what do you call those sheds with the tin on them?
Oh, Quonset huts?
Quonset. They were like that, and we had these big sheets, and we'd put them in these ice troughs on either side, and then we'd bolt them together. And that was and then we built houses down in the tunnels
That's crazy.
and put a nuclear reactor in there. and then I got in trouble from burning the place.
What? How did
Wait,
you do
did
that?
you once drop an artillery shell on your officer's foot?
No, that was the guy that shit on his captain's desk.
Wait, what did you drop on his foot?
What did
though?
you drop on your foot? Wait, how did you set the place on fire?
Yeah, wasn't it
Are
just
we,
made
are we
of
done
metal
with Walter
and snow?
Cronkite and the Queen?
No, no, he hasn't even got there yet.
Oh.
Was this
So,
BC before Cronkite.
BK?
so do you guys ever do you ever see Walter Cronkite? Do you know who he is?
Yeah, I know
I've
who
heard
he
the
is.
name.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever seen.
I've never seen him. I know who he is though.
He's one of those famous news anchors.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah. Anyway,
Said I know who.
so he came up and interviewed the captain, and the Queen came that afternoon or something, and we had to go to our tents. All 60 of us. There were 3 tents. There was 20 in a tent,
And they locked you in.
and so they locked us in as best they could. So we would kind of peep through the cracks and so forth, but I could never see the Queen. She was kind of in a group of males from Sweden or Denmark, and then she was there for about an hour, and then they did more film. They did all the filming of her in the Denmark group, and then they left, and
They let you out of the tent?
they let us out of the tent. And then about a week later, I was working on some engine. I was working at night by the clock, because everybody was sleeping. And I was in charge of making sure that the engines were gassed up that we used on the sleds and stuff. So I pulled the engine. All we had were these big, we had big 5-gallon drums or 50-gallon drums sitting beside the tents, and then just a gravity-fed hose that came
50
in.
gallon drums of fuel sitting next to your tent.
Yeah, and it was diesel. It was diesel fuel, or no, it wasn't diesel fuel. It was some kind of fuel. Anyway, it came in, like a pot stove, like the one you have downstairs. So I had it going, and I'd thrown some more stuff in it to make sure it was real hot. So I brought the engines over. I was so damn cold, and I was supposed to get them started because they hadn't been started. So I was trying to get them real warm and so forth. And all of a sudden, something happened, and the boom, and the tent started on fire. and I ran. The captain was 2 tents down in a group with officers. So I ran in there and I said, Captain, we're on fire. It's on fire. And he got up and he said, Fox Miller!
That's a good way to end that story.
All right.